Welcome back, my friends, to Disability Reality Podcast. My name is Melanie Rivera Waldman, and if you're new here, thanks for joining us. If you just got here from the Wicked Red Carpet, I especially appreciate you. A lot of people came to me and said, Melanie, I'm so sorry. I never heard about your page before this. And guess what? That's okay. I'm actually quite honored. So thanks for coming. This week's episode is all about my friend Emily Ladau, and we're going to jump right into her episode in just a minute. But I wanted to start us off by recapping a little bit. I wanted to take a clock tick to jump in and talk about Wicked a little bit. Still so wild to me that I even get to talk about this at all. So feel free to send me your questions on anything that I went through, did, or talked about. Can we just talk about the reviews real fast? Because I don't think that there was something that these people of the press who are acknowledging and reviewing this film really did and gave it justice to, is that there's history with this material. The source material for Wicked is the Broadway show, duh. And there's a lot that comes from that. I'll be honest, the very first time that I saw Wicked on Broadway, I didn't like it. Right, yeah, you heard me. We sat in the orchestra, and I was so annoyed because I'd been listening to the sound waves of Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth and just dreaming about the vocals going hard, especially on like As Long As You're Mine and For Good and all of those things. And it didn't slap for me, unfortunately. The first time, funny enough, I was non-disabled, so there was an element I did not appreciate, especially about Nessa Rose. And I honestly only remember a little bit before about Nessa when I was non-disabled. The second time I saw it, not only did I know about Nessa Rose and the history of her not being portrayed by an authentic wheelchair user on Broadway, which, woof, I got to see Jenna Bainbridge. And just to see her in that role, plus I knew the ending, I just needed a little refresher on the second act. So I ended up going with a friend, Maria. Hi, Maria. She did my makeup for Wicked and the red carpet and Jillian's as well. Shout out to Jill and Maria for helping me in the big day. Maria had not seen Wicked, so she only saw the movie and she loved it. And the entire time, when we saw it on Broadway this March, it was Jenna Bainbridge's debut show. All of Act 2, I'm sitting back and I'm just waiting. And Maria's sitting to my right, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna soak this up. And when the things do the thing, and no spoilers on this show. Well, maybe some spoilers when you talk about things with me and Emily in just a moment. Just watching Maria's face at least 3 times do this. Just watch. Just chef's kiss. Thank you, Maria, for those memories. So let's talk about gratitude, my favorite. If any of you out there have seen the movie Elemental, you'll know exactly what I'm about to refer to. I have been playing the crying game so much lately. I need to put these back on to read my notes because I have notes. Yeah, the things that I'm feeling are very much here. The slightest thing will make me cry. Oh my God. Anyway, my real ones, if you've seen and not seen Elemental, the crying game is this. You mention one thing after another, and you try to get the other person to cry. So spoiler alert there. And also, if you haven't seen Elemental, highly, highly, highly encourage you to do so. I loved it. Anyway, I was watching a video of Jessica Vosk backstage at Hell's Kitchen, and this child was singing to her No Good Deed. And Jessica is like honed in on this kid. And this kid is singing so nervously with eyes closed, but hitting every note. And as soon as that child hit the riff, I forget which one it was. It was like, Nessa and Dr. Dillamond, Piero. Oh, yeah. The reaction that I had was just pure sobs because guess what? There's reason Cynthia Erivo is Man of the Year. Absolutely. Period. You're about to see me lose at the crying game. Talking about today's guest. Spoiler alert, you're gonna see it happen toward the end of this episode. Yeah, watching this episode back was hard for me not to tear up with. So I'm really appreciative of Emily. In this interview, you're gonna hear us talk about her book, Demystifying Disability, as well as some other topics, including marriage, a little bit of Wicked spoilers like I might have said. I didn't give myself a visual description for today about the rainbow checkerboard jumpsuit. I'm wearing a tan long sleeve under that. I have a silver necklace on that's been glistening in the light this whole time. It says Adapting, which is my brand for my yoga business. You'll hear me talk about my prosthetic in some content, so be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all of the above at Where's Waldman, and follow the page for the podcast at Disability Reality. And since I just mentioned adapting, follow Adapting Yoga while you're at it. I don't know. And yeah, talking back to myself this time last year, launching this podcast, I'm just so grateful to have you all here. You can hear a little bit more about that at the end of this episode. I'll put the rest of this in there so you can just dive in with Emily. Over to you, my girl.
Okay, so hi, I am Emily Ladau. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a white woman, have brown hair pulled back, wearing gold headphones, big purple glasses, and a tank top with like a leopard print situation on it. The thing that you are not able to see in the screen is that I am a wheelchair user, and that is why I do what I do. I am incredibly passionate about all things disability, activism, and education. And I am the author of a book called Demystifying Disability. And that's me.
Yay! Oh, I'm so excited you brought up your book because I do want to dive into that. If you haven't met me before, on some of my other podcasts, I failed at doing visual descriptions, so I'm doing my best today to get better at that. I'm a right arm amputee below the elbow. I have olive brown skin and it's kind of glistening today because it's summertime, it's the end of summer, and I'm sweaty. So we are just glowing today. I wear a black v-neck top button down. It's gauze, and I have on a necklace from my friend Brandon. He goes by Braun Bermudez. And I have brown glasses that are kind of translucent with my hair pulled up in a bun. It's curly. I have black headphones on, and I like to talk with my hands. So I'm using my hand to conduct my speech at this moment. And if you haven't gotten to jump into disability reality, we talk about all things to do with disability, but also the things that have absolutely nothing to do with disability. So that's what our conversation is also going to be about today. I do want to talk about demystifying disability because it's one of my favorite books to recommend when people are like, what is some literature? If I've never met a disabled person before, if I want to get to know how I can lead conversations better, like Melanie, what is, and I say, let me stop you right there. Here's the link to the Amazon, and I believe you're also an Audible. Is that correct? You're an audio.
You are right.
Are you the announcer for it?
I am. And it's so funny because I got a comment the other day that someone is not an audiobook person, but they actually enjoyed listening to my narration and they want me to narrate other audiobooks. I personally need to turn myself off when I'm talking. I'm like, I can't stand to listen to myself, but I know who really can. But I'm like, I cannot believe you actually want to just listen to me talk. But that is very lovely of you to say.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. So I have the physical small print copy. And what I really wanted to bring you on today about was talk about your newest production with your book. Do you want to go ahead and jump in?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited because the book just came out in large print. And I'm feeling like this definitely should have happened when it was first released, but better now than never.
Mm-hmm.
And the priority for me has always been, how can I create as much accessibility as possible with a book that is about disability and accessibility? And so the first thing that I decided to do was to not have it produced in hardcover, because hardcover makes books so much more expensive. And so we went right to paperback. And so that made it a little bit more financially accessible. I was very thoughtful about how we could create access in a way that feels like approachable and friendly and like, hey, here's, a fun cover and here's a really readable font and things like that. So for me, the whole ethos of the book is about making it accessible, but then the large print adds another dimension to that.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up the cover too. I think you had said, like, I remember reading about it when it came out. A friend of yours had done the cover, and it's, if you're unfamiliar with the cover, it's a teal background with these cartoon drawings of people with all disabilities. One of them being you. You're on the cover. You're hidden in there like a little Where's Waldo, which I love.
Oh, you noticed the Easter egg. Okay, yes, I'm on the bottom.
I think you might have pointed it out at some point, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I think I was wondering, like, oh my God, is Emily a part of this? And you were like, here she is. But I remember also Imani Barbarin was on there too. I'm trying to think of like some other creators who are in the disability space who were on there. But this was, what year did it come out? Do you remember the year it was published?
2021.
A pandemic baby in its own right.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was my pandemic baby.
Oh,
Thank you for noticing.
Oh, you're so welcome. Honestly, there are so many pandemic babies in real life that honestly, whatever comes out of the pandemic at this point is a pandemic baby, because we all had that time. And I still think of it like everybody else had to experience disability. Like they had to take it on without even like trying it. I think at that point for me, I acquired my disability. So I think a part of me is like, some people are never going to understand this. Like how are we ever going to get people to understand this who've never understood this? And I guess that's honestly, I hate to say, like a beautiful blessing that came from it, is that yes, now a lot of people have had to experience isolation and the loneliness and the repercussions of being in a global worldwide pandemic. It's wild that there are, so many people who now get it because of that. And at the same time, so many people who still don't. And that's also a reason why I wanted to have you come on, is to kind of talk about this whole surroundings of anti-DEIA and what effect that's had. And you especially have a connection to our loss of PBS and public broadcasting. So I wanted to hear your perspectives on all that as well.
Yeah, I think I have just noticed that people are so afraid of talking about disability now, because it used to be, oh, I'm afraid of getting it wrong. And now it's, oh, I'm afraid that I'm going to get in trouble and lose funding if I talk about it. And so there's this really weird shift that I'm grappling with, because for so long I was trying to make people feel better about even talking about disability in the first place, because they cared about it and didn't want to make a mistake. And now I do believe that people still care, but I also think that there's been this big shift in the direction of, I still care, but I can't talk about it because there's funding on the line. My job is on the line,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've been encountering a lot of that. And I think that people fail to realize that the terms diversity, equity, and inclusion are not these controversial things. Diversity is a fact. We are diverse simply by nature of the fact that all of us exist. A human as an individual is not diverse, but we can be diverse from one another. And then equity is simply ensuring that everybody has access to what they need to thrive, and that looks different for different people. And then inclusion means allowing everyone space to be part of the equation. And for that matter, not having someone who is doing the allowing in the first place, because we're all
Mm-hmm.
on the same playing field. So, none of these things are things we should be afraid of. And then a lot of people also add the A to DEIA, accessibility. And again, sounds like a big scary word, I guess, to some people, but it's really just, hey, let's make environments work for everybody. And so it's been a tough shift to watch, but I also do believe that there are people who still care deeply about it. But when funding is on the line, you end up having to make the decision that you will find another way into the conversation.
Mm.
But then sometimes funding is on the line regardless. And that's really what's happening right now with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and Public Media. And I guess what you were alluding to is that when I was a little girl, I had the opportunity to appear on some episodes of Sesame Street. And so I really have just felt firsthand the impact of what it means to see and be seen in the media as a disabled person. And cutting funding for that is devastating.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like, yes, your closeness and proximity of like having been experienced of that portrayal of your disability be worldwide. I'm sure as a child, you might not have had the awareness of the impact even today. It still has when we see so many kids starting to start their careers in the performance space, like Cecily, who plays Nessa Rose, young Nessa Rose, who is dear friend. She's so cute, but we're getting more chances for that authentic portrayal of disability. When we were growing up, when I was your age and about the same age, I was non-disabled. So had I seen that, I was very fortunate and privileged enough in my life to be surrounded by people with disabilities and be accepting of that. But there were other households that weren't so much and really didn't have an awareness of it. And you're right. It's sad now to see that in a professional stance and in these corporations that the funding is what's on the line because of having DEIA in our literature of what our mission statements are, from everything to people on LinkedIn having that be in their little bios. I actually had an experience recently. I went to Tribeca and I met somebody who I had networked with, and I was like, oh my God, I love that DEI is still on your profile. And I went back later and it was gone. And it was just that quick. It was within a day. So it's so scary to be present to right now. But at the same time, for me, I know it makes me want to fight a little bit harder or as hard as I can to keep those conversations still going.
Yeah. And I have been in the position already where I've had to modulate my language on certain
Mm,
things, shift around some titles, things like that. So I feel that deeply. And I also think that sometimes people forget about how they tried to convey their public persona
hmm.
before all of this started to happen. And it was like a point of pride to use
Right.
those things. And now I feel like it just strikes this very depressing fear.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a complete 360 on where we were with talking about disability pride. And I still do feel it, but I think that this year, the timing of it being like 3 days into Disability Pride Month, it was announced that cuts to Medicaid were being implemented. So I think there was this cultivated shift of what even is disability pride if now our access to healthcare is put on the line. I'm not somebody who's had to be on Medicaid, but I'm eligible. And even that to me is like, do I want it? It would help me in many ways to be able to be on Medicaid. But I think right now for me, the emotional strain of that is a lot more terrifying than actually applying and being on it. Because now, I was telling you before we jumped on the podcast, I'm personally getting ready to go do some advocacy at scheduled events in Washington, D.C. But some of the people I'm organizing with, and with good reason, are afraid to be in that area because now the government is being taken over. I'm sorry, the police department has been taken over by the government. So it's a really scary time to just be a part of the minority. But I loved what you were saying about DEIA. People have it as this like scary term, like it's going to crawl out from under your bed. But diversity in a room of disabled people, the one non disabled person, you are our diversity hire.
I mean, look, it's all about the context that you're in, right? I think that it's so interesting to think about what if disabled people were the majority. But I also think we're not so far off from that, because with 1 in 4 people at least being disabled in the United States and more than 1 billion people around the world, we are at least the world's largest minority. And that counts for something.
It better. It better count for something. And we are seeing that shift, like I kind of said before, in our entertainment space. And something that I spoke on when we started this was actually you and I remember the day I met you was through Lights, Cameras, Access. It was a room full of mentors and mentees, and we went around, and I think it was maybe 2016, maybe 2014. I think a year into me having my disability at all, and I started this journey of Where's Waldman being blogging what my life was like going through limb loss. And I remember that Beth Holler from Towson University, I went and gave her my resume. And at that point, she said to me, I want you to know that in my curriculum for the spring semester, I had my students go through your blog and we've been talking about it. And it gave me I had to take a second and be like, wait a minute. What did you just say? This is past tense? Like, this just happened to me. This is happening in real time. And, now we get it. Like, with TikTok and everything and Instagram, like, news is so instantaneous. Back then, it was a lot more jarring for me to be like, you know about me. Okay, I don't have to worry about over explaining myself. And I don't think you were one of my mentors, but probably because of our age closeness, I did have Anna Packman, who I love dearly, and I will on a public platform say that she is the big sister that I never asked for. I still think she's incredible. I love you, Anna. But there was so many incredible people in that room that day, and that was at John Adams University in New York City, that one event.
Yeah, gosh. And I have a couple of pictures on my phone from that day too, still, but it's just funny to think about because at that point I felt very much like a baby
Mhm.
activist, you know. But I love what you were saying about someone, having discovered and used your blog as a tool for teaching. And that makes me think of the first time that somebody discovered something that I had written who was not a person who I had ever engaged with
Wow.
before. I started blogging in 2013, and I always like to joke I was writing for myself and maybe my family. Like if my mom read it, cool, I'd be happy. And then one day I had a woman who, I don't know how she came across the blog, but she commented on it and let me know that what I had written resonated with her as someone who also had a disability. And that was sort of the moment for me that I realized this is really bigger than any one person. This is about recognizing that we're all really hungry for representation.
Hmm.
We're all really craving to see ourselves and to be heard and to be understood. And that feeling, regardless of whether you have a disability, whether you acquire a disability, it's just a deeply human feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear that a lot too. With what I teach with adaptive yoga is people are like, wow, I didn't realize that in just making things easier for myself or not even thinking about the poses, because I don't know how familiar you are with yoga and the practice of yoga, but of the 8 steps and principles, only one of those 8 steps is the physical foundations and movement. The rest is internal work. So when I take that out of the equation, right? Like how different is that?
I have no joke been wanting to take one of your classes for the longest time. I'm being very serious. Like every time I see you post about it, or I know one year we put your class offerings in the disability holiday gift guide that I put
Yes.
together. So I have just been following that part of your journey for a while, and I have yet to ever find myself in a place where I feel like any of these movements for movement, if you want
Sure.
to call it that, are like
Sure.
where I belong. So
Right.
like yoga or like Pilates or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm just like, there's not a home for me here.
No, and that's totally valid. And it sometimes gives me the pause to be like, why is somebody who is paraplegic, not that you are, but just specifically different disabilities, why are they going to come to me as an arm amputee, as a girl with chronic illness, when my disability is not a monolith, as you and I know, it is an umbrella. It just rains upon us and the sprinklings go everywhere. Snowflakes, you could even say. We're snowflakes. But it's just so different when our physical foundations are so different that, yeah, I get that apprehension of why I don't see myself in her teaching and her offerings. And I think that's why I don't teach as often as a lot of fitness pros do. I really just do it for, like, I just taught adaptive yoga at the Lucky Finn Project weekend, and it was a room full of arm amputees, which makes sense, right? And a lot of them, what I really liked to hear from the parents was during the pandemic, because they are literal pandemic babies, we love them. They would do at home workouts with mom when they saw her in the living room, like upside down. And that looked like fun, mom. So they got their own introductions to it without the apprehension of being in a physical space or seeing, walking past or rolling past a yoga studio and saying, I don't see myself in that room. There's no space for me in there.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think for me, it would just be so powerful to have any yoga teacher who has any kind of apparent disability, because I think that there is that level of understanding that we're coming from the same place. We don't
Mhm.
share the same disability. We don't share the exact same experiences. Our mobility is different, but there's already thought going into how this can be adapted
Mhm.
because a disabled person would care about something like that.
Yeah. And it's so funny we got on this topic because that wasn't even in my plan of what to talk about, but it
Oh.
does come back to that. And that's what I like about having this space is, like, sometimes I just like to pass the microphone and be like, Emily, what is the question that people aren't asking you that you could go on your soapbox about and just spew? That's my yoga.
I mean, I think the best times that I've had on podcasts are ones where people are like, let's just talk about being human beings.
It's not funny.
Disability is a huge part of that, but I just get pigeonholed very often. And
Sure.
that's because I am a quote unquote professional disabled person. Like everybody in my life likes to joke that that's what I am, just disability 24/7.
Yep.
And I totally get that. But I think that what gets missed in that is how much I love theater. What gets missed in that is that I really love to build Legos, right? Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, like I am someone who really enjoys peacocks. Like I love peacocks.
I
They're
think
very
I knew
much
this
my
about
vibe.
you. I Peacock feathers. Peacock feathers is
Yes.
like a thing for you. I remember
Yes, it
this.
is. Yeah. Yeah. It is a thing. And like it's a thing that people know if they are kind of connected with me in some way. But, those are all things that are not disability related, but they're just part of who I am on top of all of that.
Well, a part of me also as a theater major knew this about you, that you were a lover of theater. And I know it always comes back to disability, but I was actually wondering what's out there that you are interested in. I have some things that actually I just heard about that I want to tell you about. But what are some, like, theater things that you're excited about that may be already on stage or coming to the stage?
Yeah. So the thing that I was excited about, I didn't even get to see because it was like a one night only thing. But most recently, they did like an ASL version of Waitress.
Oh, I
And
saw the videos. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I had really wanted to see that. And I think that that brings up something for me in like two directions. On the one hand, I really want to see new work being created by disabled people featuring disabled talent. At the same time, I also really, really love when something that's already established is given a disability spin.
Ooh.
So like when Shakespeare in the Park was doing, oh my gosh, was it like Hamlet, Macbeth,
Richard the
Othello?
Third.
Thank you. I was like, what
I had a
Shakespeare play
feeling.
was it?
I was like, she's talking about Richard the Third right now.
Thank you. I was like, let me name
Well, yeah.
every other play first. Um,
It's okay.
it had Greg Musgala in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Ali
Yay!
Stroker. Yeah. So like, and it's so funny because I really did enjoy that production very, very much. But again, like turning some of the disability narratives on its head was really enjoyable for me. Just like getting to engage with a work that I enjoyed, and then
Mm.
disability was like added on top of it. Or like years ago, Deaf West did Spring Awakening on Broadway, and already was a lover of Spring Awakening, but
Mm-hmm.
then seeing it in ASL was incredible.
I'm
And
so
so
jealous. I'm so
I mean, oh
jealous.
gosh, I love Spring Awakening.
I know.
I just, but like this is the thing. Like I think there is joy in two ways. I want to see more things that are like by and for the disability community. I also want to see the works that we all know and love actually having authentic disability representation. And I mean, the obvious thing that I didn't name is Wicked, but obviously that's relevant to the conversation.
Shout out to Jenna Bainbridge. I
Yeah,
love
of
you.
course.
Absolutely. And of course Marissa Voti. But yeah,
Of course.
that is the obvious is right now that's probably the biggest platform of theater that we have right now is, and it's so funny because us theater lovers are like, we knew all along. We've known forever how good this is. Now everybody gets to experience it. I can't. I could go on for days about how excited I am for part 2.
Oh my god, super excited. But also, and maybe you'll get this, this is going to sound so silly, but when people are like, "Can you tell me about an example of disability that you've seen on Broadway or something like that?"
Mm.
I feel like if I name Wicked, people are going to be like, "Oh, you're not a Broadway fan. You just like know what's in the zeitgeist." You know what I mean?
No. I do, but at the same time, like that's not even I feel like I hear what you're saying. I feel like too, if you say that, you can name on one hand how many examples there are. I think that that's what's fair about you
Oh,
saying
totally.
Wicked is like
Yep.
Jeff West is one, Wicked, How to Dance in Ohio.
Short-lived, but loved it.
I didn't get to see any. Well, I got to see Wicked with Jenna, but I didn't get to see Deaf West. So I think on my bucket list of theater goals, I want to see a Deaf West someday. And that's actually what I wanted to talk also about is that's disability representation on stage. But what we are concerned about behind the scenes in the dark of the theater that nobody else really cares about is the physical accessibility to theater and what it is to be an audience member seeing any Broadway show. Like who are the people caring about us? The biggest form of access for us eventually being able to see ourselves represented is we have to be the people in the rooms seeing and supporting these works at the same time.
Oh, I've got a story for that.
Ooh,
So
go off.
I saw The Play That Goes Wrong,
Okay, I've never seen it.
and it's very funny. It's like a British, very slapsticky physical comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is sort of meta in the sense that it's like a play that goes wrong, and the play is about a play going wrong. And it's very cute. It's very funny. But the irony was that when I got there, I went with my fiance and his parents and my mom and my dad, and my mom is also a wheelchair user. So we had, gotten our accessible tickets and everything. There was some confusion when we got to the theater because we have two wheelchairs.
Mm-hmm.
There are two wheelchair seats. The seats don't have room for two wheelchairs. So, like, the spot didn't have room for two wheelchairs. So, like, we're going back and forth with the ushers. The ushers got management. We had people who were sitting next to us who were, like, refusing to move, even though all we were asking was, like, can we just have a little more room? Like, And I had to laugh to myself because I was like, so does the play that goes wrong start now where things go wrong beforehand? And this is just like,
The ADA that goes wrong.
yeah, right. Like this is just the hands on audience experience before the actual show starts. And
Wow.
it was just like one of those moments where I was like, I'm here because I want to enjoy myself. And immediately the experience is ruined when something like that happens. I mean, obviously, the show was very funny. It
Mhm.
redeemed itself. Like, we had a good time. But the point is that, you know, it's like every time I go out, it's like the play that goes wrong for me. It's like, what's
Girl,
going to happen now?
hear that. And I feel like that's kind of when I'm with a group of people where it's like some friends are in power cheers and some friends are I am the hands-on advocate of like, hold on a second. We are trying to live our lives. You need to wait. Like, and I'm physically like blocking things so that my friends
Yep.
around me can get their basic needs met. And it's not fair for you. It's not fair for us. It's not fair for them. But it's also this kind of thing of what you'd brought up earlier that I'd love to kind of dive into is like the advocacy fatigue of being the people who have to make the arguments. And I was at Tribeca, and I was doing press for it where they give you screeners and you can watch films ahead of time. And I'd done Sundance where I hadn't seen any of this, but there was a film that was a feature film being produced, and it was unfortunately inspiration porn. So here I am in a room, and it's inspiration porn that shows really graphic images. So I'm watching inspiration porn, which I'd really hate to do. I don't endorse it. And they had already asked me to go and endorse it in person because of reasons. And I said yes without seeing it. And that was my fault. And I had a scheduling conflict, luckily. But at the same time, like I'm isolated watching this alone, triggered, going through my own trauma, reliving it. And it's like, yes, there was that moment for me of like, I feel so alone and isolated, but also in thinking, okay, what is the next thing I do? And in trying to formulate an email to send to a film festival, I was just like, why does it have to be me? Who says? And it always comes back to us, unfortunately.
I feel that so often. Like, am I allowed to take off my activist hat and just enjoy something for what it is? But the truth is that sometimes it's a struggle. Like, in terms of a media example,
Mhm.
so, you know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
I grew up watching Gilmore Girls. I am charmed by it. I watched it with my mom. Like, I know that people are like love it or hate it. And I totally
Absolutely.
get that. The more times that I rewatch it, the more annoyed that I get by how frequently there are like disability jokes and fat jokes in there.
Oh,
Really
yes.
inappropriate
Oh,
ones.
yeah. Oh.
And I mean, that's the case with like a lot of like 90s and early 2000s television.
Correct.
So, I know that it is a product of its time, but I'm also like, can I just enjoy something because it's like a little good fun? Or
Yeah.
do I need to like protest it because I'm very angry at the disability jokes that were being made? And, I think part of me is like, well, if you were really a good activist, you would, stop watching it immediately. But I'm kind of like, or I can use it as a jumping off point to be like, this is what not to do.
Amen. You brought up the play that goes wrong and the ADA being the issue. Have you heard any discourse about the new Phantom of the Opera immersive experience? Are you familiar with that?
No, but okay, I feel like you might have some tea.
It's not tea yet, but it's interesting. Because I only know so much because I don't want spoilers. Let's put it this way. And like I'm very fortunate to have just interviewed Gerard Butler, and I am admittedly a huge Phantom of the Opera fan because I saw him in middle school, and that's what made me fall in love with Phantom was when it came out. I was hooked. So I'm a big Phantom of the Opera girly to begin with. They
Hmm.
essentially formatted an entire building to be like a walkthrough of the show. So you're walking through the theater and then you're going beneath it and you're like you're just experiencing the tactile environment, and it is AD accessible. They're still in previews. So I just heard back from their media team, and they said, we want you to come when the show is set and solid and booked. Though I am like, they have a Discord for an ADA page where people are able to share their experiences. And what I have heard is that you are assigned somebody who is like your access person for the night, and they guide you. And they've said really nice things of like, they made sure that nobody blocked my path, that I was able to see. They offered to carry my cane for me and use their arm, because it's like a masquerade, right? Like it's a whole like literal immersive experience. The tickets are the least accessible component of it. Yeah, the tickets are the least accessible component at $250 a pop so far.
I'm still interested though. I mean, that is definitely financially not accessible,
No.
but you have immediately piqued my interest because it sounds incredible. And I mean, so a lot of what I do actually, this I don't know if you know, but I do a lot of cultural access consulting. So
Amazing.
I've worked with different venues, like the Perelman Performing Arts Center in New York City and the Brooklyn
wow.
Academy of Music, and the Highline
Hell
and things
yeah.
like that on,
Highline is so accessible. Hello.
yeah, there's like a lot of accessibility work that these entities are doing. And so I've gone in and I've done some work with them at different stages of their processes. And I think it's just about being very thoughtful about how to implement access in a way that doesn't take away from the experience, because access enhances the experience.
Amen.
And something that's coming up for me, I don't know if you remember when Sleep No More was like a whole thing that everybody talked about.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like I recall being told that I couldn't do it because it really was not going to be accessible for my power chair. I could be wrong.
They did it on Gossip Girl. They accommodated Gossip Girl, but couldn't accommodate you. I would be so appalled to hear that.
I mean, like, I could be wrong. I really could be, but something is telling me that I wanted to go and that there was some reason that a power wheelchair just was not going to work there. But yeah, I mean, I would love to be part of an immersive theater experience. I've not
Yes.
really had that opportunity. I mean, about as immersive as I've gotten is going through haunted houses, and those are their own subset of ableist nonsense. So, oh, never again.
Never. Not for me. I'm not a haunted house girly, but I would go to a musical theater themed Phantom of the Opera house. That's okay
Yeah.
with me. That's
Yeah,
scary.
of
It's
course.
scary to a degree, though. It could be argued that Phantom of the Opera in itself, like you were saying, argumentatively, facial difference is not the enemy. And
Yeah.
we don't want to villainize disability. And that is also something Wicked Part 2 I'm interested to see, because I don't know if you heard about that they are changing slightly Nessa Rose's story. Have you seen?
I have
You've
heard
seen Wicked on Broadway in person, yes?
multiple times. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, so
Of course.
I saw it
Of course.
once in high school and forgot about, like, I knew the music from Part 2, but I forgot how the things were doing what they do. So I just saw it when Jenna had her debut, and I was like, oh, okay, and I was just explaining to a coworker, like, yeah, I think this is what the change is going to be. Like, how do you think they're going to unvilify? What do you think might be the tea there?
Oh my God. Good question. I mean, okay. I feel like I'm of two minds about this, because on the one hand, I think it's really interesting to have an unapologetic disabled villain.
Hmm.
But I also really hate that her villain origin story is so related to her disability
Yeah.
and how everybody treats her.
Mm.
So I feel like the change though, and I think I should say spoiler, but at this point, like, who doesn't know the story of Wicked?
Sure.
I really think it's going to be something to do with the walking. I
Mhm.
don't know what. I don't think they're going to be like, no, she doesn't like get up again. But I just think that there's going to be something in the framing of
Yeah.
that. Maybe. I don't know.
before we close out, I wanted to know from you, who are some people in your life that bring you, when you think of disabled joy, or you think of like your career as an activist, though, you're a full-fledged human, not just about disability. Are there people in your life who are non-disabled and disabled who have led you to the point of wanting to be an author and an advocate today?
I mean, I really gotta give it to my mom. I really do. Um, I mentioned earlier that she has the same disability that I do, but I watched her and learned how to advocate from her. But at
Hmm.
the same time, she also, did not grow up surrounded by disability community. She didn't have a sense of disability pride instilled in her. And so, whereas I'm the person who learned advocacy from her, she's the one who learned disability pride from me. And I feel
Oh,
like
that's so
it's
sweet.
it's really interesting. Yeah, like it's a really interesting dynamic because um I don't think if I hadn't witnessed her being such a strong advocate that I would have learned those skills and then found my way forward
Hmm.
into a community where I could feel pride in myself, but she was never given permission to feel that pride.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Wow.
it was it's a powerful thing. She's the best. Big
Oh
fan,
my
10 out of 10.
gosh. Big fan. I want her autograph now. I'm going to need your signed book in large print signed by your mother. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Please do send her my love. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. Thank you so much, Emily, for joining me. And I hope to have you back on in the future as history writes itself, hopefully for the better.
This was fun though. Like speaking of disabled joy, like this is disabled joy. Like this is a way to feel joyful in community when things are as they are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it helps to be
So,
cathartic and laugh at it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
so yeah, this was a ton of fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my love. Yeah. All
I
right, I'm
am
gonna.
not good at I am not good at doing that. I can't like
Oh,
get my
it's the nub heart.
Yeah, I like yours.
People are like, you can do the tiny one. I'm like, no, I like this.
No, I like it. It's way cuter. What's the tiny one?
You see the little heart? Yeah, there you
This?
go.
Oh.
So there you go. You have that one. You have this one. Yay! Make it
Look at that,
accessible.
adapting things on the fly.
Yay!
I love that.
That's my MO.
Loved that.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching Emily's episode. So let's talk about the end of the year gratitude that I have to share with all of you. Let's get something straight. This is not the end of season. There's still more to come. This is just my end of 2025 gratitude. There may be more episodes before the end of the year. Who knows? I am a one-woman show, okay? But anyway, thank you to all the people behind me who have supported me, Disability Film Challenge, Lucky Fin Project, and everyone else in between. The established platforms that I had, the followings that I've had all along, to the people on YouTube and Instagram and the TikTok live followers. Thanks for seeing me and making me feel like I was confident enough as well and in my own skin to trust my voice. So I think that speaks volumes that we do need to acknowledge those in ourselves, because let me tell you, I am the overthinking queen, which isn't always a good thing. But little did I know that the year following all of that would lead me to all of the wonderful opportunities I've had, like Wicked. Thank you all so much so far for this season. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time, I hope. And if not, and you made it this far, thank you for your service. Thank you all so much for listening. This podcast was created by yours truly, which I edit, produced. I put all the graphics together, slap it with some glue, and present it to you almost as a one-woman show, if not for my incredible guests. From my OGs on my original podcast, Little Misrepresentation, to this one, I appreciate every single one of you. If you are currently interested in advertising, I am running a sale. That's right, from now until January 3rd, 2026, you can find your name as a part of a supporter of this podcast. Now selling sponsorships per episode, per credit line, per comment section, starting as low as 25 cents. pay what you can. We are here for accessibility, my friends. You can find out more in the caption below. As always, stay well. I'll see you next time.